All right, everyone, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, thank you for joining the Office of Health Promotion for our Lunch and Learn today over managing stress in college. So just as a little bit of housekeeping, we are recording the session today. So if you are uncomfortable with being recorded, definitely feel free to keep your cameras and your mics off. If you signed up and won a meal voucher for attending today, you will be contacted tomorrow to get information about how you can get your meal voucher. So just be on the lookout for your email as well. My name is Brittany Clarkson. I am one of the health education specialists here at the Office of Health Promotion, and I'll be leading our Lunch and Learn today. If you have never been to one of my presentations, just know that I enjoy feedback. So I will be asking a couple of questions, so please feel free to come off mute or use the chat box to answer any questions or to give your feedback on anything. So let's go ahead and get started. So yes, so we will be talking about managing stress in college. So if somebody could, in the chat box, let me know if you can see the PowerPoint slide. I think we're good. I think everybody can see it. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Okay, so yes, managing stress in college is what we're going to be talking about today. So just a few objectives that we're going to touch on. We're going to define stress. We're going to talk about the different types of stress, common indicators of having too much stress, as well as the difference between stress and stress management and self-care. So I'm going to start off asking a question. What is stress? What is it to you? When I say stress, what does it make you think of? Okay. Overthinking, someone said in the chat, negativity. Okay. Anyone else? Being exhausted and burnt out. That's a good one. That's what I think of when it comes to stress. Absolutely. Okay. So some kind of semi-scientific definitions for stress. Stress is something that causes a strong feeling of worry or anxiety. So it can be an event or it can be, a person or a situation, but anything that causes you to worry or be anxious is what we would define as being stressful. Stress is also anything that alters your natural balance. So if you think of like how you feel when you are your most content, something that stresses you out will take you out of that space, right? And when you are stressed, your body spends a lot of time and attention on that stress, right? It focuses a lot on trying to alert you to, hey, this is going on. Here's a stress, pay attention to the stress, look at the stress, right? Your body does a lot of that. And when your body does that, it takes time and energy away from other functions of your brain, like concentrating or taking action. So stress can be debilitating. Okay, so let's see how many of you can relate to this. I like to say that there's kind of two types of people, right? One is somebody who kind of like wears their stress on the outside, right? So, when you look at this person, you can say, like, you can clearly see that you are stressed. Like maybe you're flustered or you're kind of like disheveled looking, or maybe your hair is just not like you usually have it, or you're kind of dressed down, like you just look like you're having a really stressful day. Or there's another type of person that kind of internalizes all their stress, right? They keep it all in, they keep it bottled up real neatly. And if you look at them, you would never know that they are going through it. So I like to, kind of ask, which is which, but definitely think about that and see, which one do you more identify with? Are you somebody who wears your stress on the outside, or are you maybe more someone who covers it up? So when you're thinking about, kind of how you wear your stress, you also want to think about where stress is coming from for you. What are your sources of stress? And there's two main categories for sources of stress. One being an external source. So you're triggered by external factors such as events or situations that happen to you. So an example of this would be like getting a poor grade on a test, or breaking up with your significant other, getting into a car accident. Those are things that happen to you that can cause a lot of stress. But then on the other side of the coin, there's internal triggers. And these are thoughts and feelings that cause unrest, right? So these are all internally motivated pieces of stress. So maybe you have a fear of something, fear of public speaking is like the number one fear in the world. Or, maybe you're from, a home where they put a lot of expectations on you. So you have a lot of high expectations on yourself that you may not be meeting, or you feel like you're not achieving what you set out to. So you're, feel stressed in the fact that you are maybe, disappointed in yourself, things like that. So you've got your external triggers and your internal triggers of stress. And then there's two types of stress, right? So there's external sources and then there's internal sources, but then there's also types of stress. And I usually get a lot of kind of not dirty looks, but like crazy looks when I tell students that not all stress is bad stress, right? So you do have the typical negative stress that we think about, and that's what we call distress. And this is when you're experiencing so much overwhelming, anxiety or worry, that it starts to harm your emotional and physical health, and it really limits your ability to perform properly. And this type of stress can be long-term, which we call chronic, or it can be short-term, which we call acute. But when I said that not all stress is good stress, what I mean is that there's a different type of stress called eustress. Now, eustress is what we call positive stress. And these are the things that are beneficial to your health, your motivation, and your performance. So the things that get you up out of bed in the morning, right? The things that motivate you to finish that homework assignment so you can turn it in on time and get a good grade, right? All of these are examples of eustress. And it's kind of hard to tell the difference because your body can't differentiate between what is going to turn into good stress or what is going to end up being bad stress. The only way you'll know is how you start to react. So there's this chart that I really like, and it's called like a stress level performance chart, right? So if you see on the far right side, there is, it's green, and then on the far left side, it's green, and then it kind of fades over into red. So on the far left side, we have like, it says lame or inactive or bored, right? So if you have too little stress, what happens is your performance is way, way down. You're not motivated to really do anything. There's nothing motivating you to get out of bed. There's nothing motivating you to get out, from in front of the TV or to go to class. You just kind of sit around, right? So you need some stress in your life to get you up and get you going, right? So then it kind of goes up as your stress level increases. You become motivated, you become focused, you have this healthy tension, the need to get things done. And then right at the top where it's kind of in the yellowish oranges is your peak performance. So this is your ideal level of stress to performance ratio. right? This is when you are firing on all cylinders, you are getting things done, you are achieving, you are succeeding, you are being, you are performing optimally. But this is also the point where one little thing that goes wrong, or one extra little thing that you have to do, or even and one extra thing that goes right, can tip the scales into distress, right? So after your peak performance, anything else that comes and adds to your stress starts to affect you mentally and physically. So you start to get fatigued, you start to get overloaded, you start to get burnt out, exhausted. And that can lead to poor performance. It can lead to bad grades. It can lead to being sick. So it's important to find that healthy balance between having the eustress to get you motivated and get you up, out, and active, and the distress. So I think we all are aware of what it feels like to have too much stress. So go, if anybody wants to chime in the chat, or or take off mute, what are some ways that you know that you're too stressed? Like, what do you experience when you personally are too stressed? Okay, back sweat. Yeah, profuse sweating can be a sign of stress. Okay. So a lot of things that we hear from students are some of the things that are on the screen. Okay, doubting oneself, that is an indicator that you're too stressed. Muscular pains, good, that's a good one. Yeah, absolutely. So we hear a lot from students that when they become too stressed, they have a lot of difficulty concentrating. So Michael just put lacking motivation. So they just don't feel like they can concentrate, or that they can do the things that they need to do. There's increased worrying, trouble completing assignments on time, or not even going to class. Um, JC just said, I know I'm stressed when I'm mad. That's a big one. Having a short temper, or becoming easily agitated, having a short fuse is a very common sign of being too stressed. Tension, that's when kind of like in your back or your neck muscles, you just feel those are really tightening to the point that they're sore. Having headaches, stomach troubles, changes in sleeping or eating habits. So either you're sleeping too much, or you're sleeping too little, or you're eating more than normal, or you're eating less than normal. Those are all indicators that your stress is really getting on top of you and starting to become a problem, that you should really start to take a look at. And sometimes we have these outlets for stress. So we have ways of managing stress that aren't super healthy, right? They can just compound our stress. So heavy alcohol and drug use, right? So what do we know about alcohol? Alcohol is a drug that does what? What kind of drug is alcohol? Yeah, it makes you act up. But it's a very good, Hannah. It's a depressant. So alcohol is a depressant. So if you are stressed and feeling low and feeling depressed, and you begin to drink, it's only going to lower your mood even more. You may feel, you may feel drunk, and you may feel like you're forgetting your troubles, but at the end of the day, it's just bringing you right back down below your base level. So alcohol is a depressant. So alcohol and stress really, really do not mix. And the same thing with drug use. Drugs tend to exacerbate what you're already feeling. So while you may get that initial high, once you come off that high, your low is even lower than when you first started. So other unhealthy outlets, lashing out at others, overindulging in poor sleep, becoming more social to avoid facing your problems, and isolating yourself. Um, we are social creatures by nature. Humans were not meant to be alone. And sometimes when we're really stressed, the first thing we want to do is lock ourselves away to try and resolve it. But the point is that you do need people to an extent. You don't want to use your friends and your coworkers or your lab partners as a crutch, but you do need to be social to have that kind of social support. So some healthy outlets, let's talk about that. What are some ways that you all reduce and manage your stress? What are some healthy outlets that you all have? Okay, working out, running 6 miles, getting enough sleep, exercising. Okay, Stephen said drawing, Marshall said community service. Those are awesome. I'm gonna tell you this, I do not prefer to exercise. So if you see me exercising, that's probably inducing more stress on me. But I know everyone's got their outlet. So exercising does release a lot of those feel-good hormones. It's a very, very good way to manage your stress. It's one of the actual top preferences that doctors will give and counselors will give to try to manage your stress, especially if you can exercise outside and get some vitamin D. Those will really boost your mood. Okay. Okay, talking and sharing with relatable people, meditation, those are all awesome, very awesome ways. So some of the things that we try to encourage students to do is one, kind of realize that you are stressed and that you do need to start turning inward to address some of the things that are stressing you, right? Doing things like keeping a journal, writing and getting your feelings out on paper, especially if you feel like you don't have someone to talk to. Keeping a journal, writing a to-do list each day is another really good way to relieve stress, because the feeling that you get when you are able to cross things off of your to-do list releases those, again, feel-good hormones, those anti-stress hormones in your body, just by being able to cross something off and being done with the project or an assignment. Setting goals for yourself, again, exercising and eating well, practicing good sleeping habits, mindfulness meditation. So this is one that we in our office are a really big fan of, and it's super easy to do. But mindfulness meditation is basically just taking about 5 minutes out of your day and just kind of sitting and taking in everything that's around you. So noticing the buildings around you, noticing what color the sky is, noticing the trees. It's just a time of sitting and noticing. Noticing how you feel. Do you feel, tight in your back? Do your feet hurt? Just sitting and just not doing anything but noticing. And it sounds silly and it's kind of hard and it takes a little bit of practice, but once you get it down, that type of meditation is very, very beneficial to your mental health. Taking regular breaks throughout the day, especially when you're finding yourself just so stressed and frustrated that you can't concentrate, just walk away for a few minutes, reset, and come back to it. And then surround yourself with supportive friends and family members and ask for help. Okay, so I apologize if I say your name wrong, but Fola said to-do lists have really helped over the years and keeps them organized. So that's definitely an awesome, awesome point. Another tip that we give to students, especially around midterms and finals, is prioritizing. Because you all get a lot of pressure and a lot of assignments and a lot of things to complete, usually all at once. And I've heard students say, year after year, semester after semester, oh, my professor thinks that they're my only class. So being able to prioritize your different assignments is going to be huge in helping to manage your stress, right? So this is usually how, a lot of people prioritize, and I'll admit that I'm one of those people, right? We look at things based on their urgency and their importance. So usually what we do is, if something is urgent and important, meaning we have to get it, like let's say you have 3 tests in 1 week, you become overwhelmed and you procrastinate to the point where you're just too stressed out to do anything, right? Or if something is important but not urgent, meaning you don't have to do it right away, typically we'll make a plan to do it, but we'll think about it nonstop, which isn't helpful either. Then if something is urgent, meaning it has to be done right away, but it's not really important, we tend to make it seem like a bigger deal than it really is, and then melt into a puddle of stress and panic. And then if you're like me and you're really guilty of this, if something is not urgent and it's not important, you spend hours doing it and you do it first. So usually that ends up being like catching up on Netflix shows or something like that. But really, we should look at it like this. Prioritizing is making a list of all your tasks, giving them values based on how important they are and how soon you need to get them done, breaking those tasks up that are larger into smaller pieces, creating a schedule, being flexible, and knowing when to say no, right? So if it's urgent and important, that's the thing that you need to do first. If it's not urgent, meaning you don't have to do it very soon, but it is important, then put it on your schedule and add little reminders so that you don't forget about it. If it's not important, but it is urgent, see if somebody else can do it. And then if it's neither urgent nor important, then just don't do it at all. Don't let it stress you out. So prioritizing does take a little bit of time to get down, but once you get it down, it can help you relieve tons of stress, and it helps you avoid, doing your assignments like the day that they're due. So why are having outlets for your stress important? So one thing that I want to point out is having outlets for your stress or having good stress management techniques doesn't necessarily take away what's stressing you, right? The reason that we want to have outlets for our stress is so that we can get back to a good state of being in order to handle our daily tasks. The stressor is still going to be there, right? So if getting into a car accident stressed you out, going to work out is not going to magically fix your car. It might make you feel better, but it's not going to fix your car. So you have to deal with the stressor at hand, but you still want to make sure that you have these healthy outlets because they exist to refocus your mind, to redirect your energy, to help recover your body and revive your work ethic so that you can be in a better place to address those stressors, right? So somebody please tell me, what is the difference between these two pictures? So on one side we have knees with some knee pads, and the other side is a knee with the band-aid. So what's the difference? What's the difference between knee pads and a band-aid? Okay, so Hannah said preventative measures versus dealing with something once you have a problem. Good. And then JC said the person with the band-aid on didn't wear the knee pads. Okay, both great observations, right? So knee pads exist to keep you from injuring your knees, right? And band-aids exist to cover up a wound so it doesn't get infected and get worse so it can heal, right? So the same thing is true for self-care and stress management, right? So we talked about how stress management helps you to deal with your stressor, but doesn't eliminate it. Well, self-care is one of those things that you do that's like a knee pad, right? Self-care is what you do before you become stressed to a point of needing stress management techniques. So self-care, we kind of see has been glamorized as like getting pedicures or going on shopping sprees or getting your hair done or getting massages. And all of those are great, right? That is self-care to an extent. But sometimes self-care is drinking water. Sometimes self-care is, you know, going to therapy, taking a relaxing bath. Self-care is ways that you pour into yourself so that when you encounter stressful situations, they don't affect you as much, right? A knee pad will not keep you from falling, but it'll keep you from being injured when you fall. The same thing with self-care. Self-care is not going to keep you from ever having, tuition bills due. It's not going to keep you from getting, bad grades, unfortunately. But when you do have those things, because you've been in a place where you have poured into yourself and you have taken care of yourself, you're eating right, you're sleeping right, you're exercising, you're better able to manage the stress when it comes. On the other hand, stress management is like that band-aid, right? The band-aid is not going to make your injury magically disappear, but it is going to help it from getting worse. So while stress management is a good way to help get your mind off of your stressor, you still have to address what's underneath. So both have their spaces, both are very important, but they are very different in the fact of, when do you need to practice self-care versus when do you need to practice stress management. So why is it important to manage stress? And this is a question for all of you. Why are you here? Why is stress management important? Okay, so you can do things without being too stressed. Okay, Stephen said to avoid anxiety and negativity. Fola said to help balance your life and prevent sickness. Very good. Okay, Hannah said stress is unavoidable, so learning how to deal with it is super important. Awesome. Yes, very good. Very, very good. Um, I'd also say because stress is an inevitable part of life, like Hannah said. So knowing how to deal with it is going to give you a better quality of life, right? Fola said to help achieve your set goals. Um, it's going to help give you a better quality of life. So there are some actually real health effects that come with being constantly and chronically stressed that we want you all to avoid, right? So long-term consequences of stress include things like a suppressed immune system. Um, we see there were studies done about people who work these high stress, high level executive type jobs in Asian countries that would just, have heart attacks and die, in the middle of the day, and they're in their 20s and their 30s. Right, because the stress has deteriorated their body and their immune system so bad that they literally just, fell dead. So it can cause, cardiovascular disease. Stress can cause ulcers. If you've ever heard of Crohn's disease, stress can complicate your digestive system so bad that you end up developing Crohn's disease. Um, Stress comes with a hormone called cortisol that can cause obesity, make it really hard for you to lose weight. Hypertension, skin conditions, and it can lead to substance abuse. And what we also see is a lot of, there's a good chunk of mental health issues that start with a very stressful event, right? So there are mental health issues like depression and anxiety that have to do with your brain chemistry. But for a lot of people, it starts with a very, very stressful event like a death or an injury or something traumatic, and then not being able to cope and manage that stress. And it just kind of spirals into other parts of their lives. Um, so stress is more than just something that students should get over, quote unquote. It is something that needs to be managed, or it can lead to long-term consequences. So one thing that I want to do is, we talked about a couple of stress management techniques that you all use, and maybe some that you can adopt. Um, but on our office has a YouTube channel. It's the FHSU Student Health Services YouTube channel. And one of the videos that we have on there is a thing called progressive muscle relaxation. So this is a real quick 4-minute video that you can do really anywhere, just as a decompressing activity. So if you're ever feeling just very tense, very stressed, like you're about to lose it, get on YouTube, search for this video, and go through the progressive muscle relaxation video. So it doesn't take any time, it doesn't take any money. All you need is, the video says to do it laying down in a private space, but you can sit on a bench with your earphones in the middle of campus, and nobody will ever know what you're doing. So it's just a way to kind of calm down when you feel like you're about to boil over. So we're going to go through this right now. And again, if you are in a public space, just find somewhere to sit. If you're at home watching this from your dorm room or your apartment, find a place to lay down, and just go with the narration of the video. And again, you can find this on our YouTube page. So I'm gonna play this, and afterwards, we'll use the chat boxes to say, to see kind of how you feel.
Hey Bearcats, have you ever had an aching back or pain in your neck when you were anxious or stressed? These exercises can provide an immediate feeling of relaxation, and all can be done from the comfort of your own bed. Choose a quiet place and set aside a few minutes for this exercise. You want to focus on one muscle group at a time. When you have anxiety or stress in your life, one of your ways your body responds is with muscle tension. Start by laying down flat on your back. Get to where there are no distractions. Fill your lungs with air. Hold for a few seconds, then release your breath. Imagine your tension flowing out your body with the release of each breath. Continue to breathe slowly throughout the exercise. We will begin today's exercise by starting from the head and working our way down. Begin by tensing your face. Turn your attention to your head and wrinkle your forehead as tight as you can. Feel the tension in your forehead and scalp. Now relax and smooth it out. Imagine your entire forehead and scalp become smooth and at rest. Now frown. Notice the strain spreading throughout your forehead. Let go. Allow your brow to become smooth again. Squeeze your eyes closed, tighter. Relax your eyes. Let them remain closed gently and comfortably. Now open your mouth wide and feel the tension in your jaw. Relax your jaw. When your jaw is relaxed, your lips will be slightly parted. Notice the contrast between tension and relax. Now press your tongue against the roof of your mouth. Experience the ache in the back of your mouth. Relax. Press your lips, now purse them into an O. Relax your lips. Feel the relaxation in your forehead, scalp, eyes, jaw, tongue, and lips. Let it go. Next, tighten your shoulders, then release. Feel the tension leave your muscles. Without straining, tense your back by bringing together your shoulder blades behind you. Hold tightly, then release. Feel the slow wave of tension leaving your body. Next, tense your chest and stomach without holding your breath. You can do this by sucking in your stomach in and tensing your chest. Squeeze harder and hold the tension. Release the tension. Allow your body to go limp. Let yourself notice the feeling of relaxation. With one arm at a time, you want to ball your fist up. Squeeze all the way up your arm and hold it. Then release. Take a moment to savor your body's relaxation. Next, tense the muscles in your upper leg and pelvis. You want to do this by tightly squeezing your thighs together. Make sure you feel the tension without going to the point of strain. And release. Feel the tension release from your body. Now going to the lower legs. Tense your calves. Hold them tightly. Pay attention to the feeling. And once again, do not go to the point of strain. Then release. Again, notice the feeling of relaxation. Almost done. Tense your foot. Curl every toe and arch of your foot. Hold tightly. And release into a new wave of relaxation. Finishing things off, tense your entire body. Tense your feet, legs, stomach, chest, arms, head, and neck. Tense harder without straining. Hold the tension. Now release. Allow your body to go limp. Notice the feeling of relaxation throughout your body. Slowly move your muscles and stretch. Finally, open your eyes when you are ready. You've completed progressive muscle relaxation exercise. Repeat this exercise daily to experience the ongoing benefits of relaxation.
All right, so how's everyone feeling? That was spiritual. Okay, relax, good. Did anybody realize how tense you are before this video, or how tense you were before this video? Yeah, I think until we tense up our muscles as tight as possible and let them go, you never really realize how tense you were. I know some students kind of walk around with their like shoulders almost to their ears, um, and don't even realize it. So hopefully that's something that you can adopt into your stress management routine. Again, like I said, it was about 4 minutes long. It's free. Just plug in your earphones, press play, and and go. Okay. And there are some other ones. So, if you can't find ours, if you just type in progressive muscle relaxations, there's some that have like a waterfall in the background, or, like a beach wave sound. So there's definitely multiple that you can choose from.
Hey, Bearcats.
So, wrapping kind of up our discussion, we talked about some internal and external triggers that can trigger your stress. We talked about sources. We talked about how stress can be bad, but some stress can be good and even motivating. And we talked about, the difference between having a good self-care routine to try to avoid the harmful effects of stress versus good stress management techniques to get us through until our stressor is no longer a stressor. And then we even went through progressive muscle relaxation to try to calm all of us down this hour. So I just have a few things that I want you to remember as you kind of go on about your day. So when it comes to stress, remember the 4 A's. Remember, avoid unnecessary stress if possible, right? If you can, alter the situation, right? So if you are stressed out by, your roommates and your lease is coming up, maybe don't re-sign a lease with them, alter that situation. If you cannot alter your situation or avoid the stressor, then do your best to adapt. One of the stressors that most people have to adapt to is family stress. You can't pick your family, so you just kind of have to adapt to stressful situations. And then accept the things that you cannot change. once you accept a stressful situation that is always going to be there, um, your attitude to it and your reaction of it becomes a lot different, and it takes a lot of the stress and a lot of the power out of that thing. So if you can't change it, just work at it to accept it. There are a couple of resources on campus. A lot of you said that you work out to relieve stress. So rec sports and intramurals is a great way to relieve stress. The counseling center is still seeing students. So if you feel like your stress is chronic and it's leading you into kind of having not the best, mental state, then the counseling center can see you through tele appointments. They also have some self-help resources on their website called TAO. So just search on shsu.edu, search the word TAO. If your stress is money related, you can make an appointment with Student Money Management Center, and they will help you write a budget. Student Legal Mediation Services is still seeing clients, and then Student Leadership Initiatives has a ton of organizations, as well as Greek Life, that you can join to, find your tribe. All right. So today, later on this evening, actually, I kind of forgot what day it was. Later on this evening, we are having our Fresh Check Day virtually. This is a check-in on mental health for students. There will be prizes. You can win like Amazon Fire tablet, a gift card, and meal vouchers by attending. So you do have to pre-register, and you can still pre-register today. Just scan the QR code, or if you go onto our social media, there's the link is on our Twitter and our Instagram at SHSU_OHP. So that's all I have for you today. Before I let you go, I'm going to share a poll really quickly. It's just about 6 questions, or 6 questions. So if you could answer the questions on the poll for me, that would be wonderful. And other than that, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.